He looked out of place from the moment he arrived. Just a quiet old man, walking with a limp, his cap pulled low to shade weary eyes. The recruits noticed him on the edge of the training field, leaning on a cane, silent as the sound of boots struck the dirt in unison. Most assumed he was someone's grandfather, maybe a retired cook or groundskeeper who wandered too close. But then, one recruit saw something others hadn't. A tattoo inked deep into the skin of his forearm, partly hidden by the sleeve of his faded jacket, and the instant recognition froze the young Marine mid-step, his heart hammering in disbelief. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The mark wasn't ordinary. It was the emblem of a unit so legendary. Recruits studied it in hushed tones. A battalion spoken of like a ghost story. Men who had fought in jungles where no light reached. Men who returned broken or not at all. The recruit's mouth went dry. Could this frail man possibly be one of them? His mind whispered no. It can't be. Yet the ink was undeniable, and with it came a gravity that settled across the training camp like an unseen storm. The old man felt the stare and turned. For a heartbeat, the two locked eyes. What the recruit saw there wasn't frailty, but the glimmer of something ancient, the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself. He stumbled, nearly breaking formation, and whispers rippled down the line. Others glanced, curiosity spreading like wildfire. The silence around the old man thickened, but inside, he wrestled with a different storm. He hadn't come here to be recognized. He had spent decades trying to live quietly, to bury memories that woke him at night. Every scar on his body told of a price paid in places no one wanted to remember. He thought maybe, just maybe, he could walk unnoticed. But destiny had other plans. The drill instructor, noticing the distraction, barked at the recruits to focus. Yet he followed their gaze, and when his eyes landed on the tattoo, even his voice faltered. For a second, the authority of the field shifted, not by force but by respect that filled the air like a drumbeat. The recruits stood taller, sensing something sacred had entered their world. The old man exhaled, slow and steady, as though deciding whether to turn and walk away, or step into the weight of their eyes. And then he did something no one expected. He raised his cane, tapped it once on the ground, and with surprising strength, his voice carried across the field. "You think you're training for war," he said, his tone gravel yet steady, "but war will break you unless you remember one thing: you don't fight for yourself. You fight for the one beside you, always." The field stilled, not even the wind dared to interrupt. His words were not a lecture, they were confession, torn from someone who had lived every syllable. The young recruit who had first seen the tattoo felt tears burn at the corners of his eyes. Moral tension struck him hard. Here was the truth, raw and unvarnished. He wondered if he would ever measure up, or if he even should. Then it happened, the moment of recognition. The drill instructor snapped to attention, saluted the old man with a hand that trembled, and slowly, like a tide, every recruit followed. 100 voices, once raw with doubt and bravado, rose into silence as hands lifted in unison. Not commanded, not ordered, but chosen. The old man's lips curved, not into pride, but into something softer: relief. For all the years he had hidden, for all the battles he had carried alone, he realized the torch had been passed, not in textbooks or drills, but in spirit. Because courage doesn't fade with age. It waits, it lingers, and it finds its way back when it's needed most. And as the sun slipped lower, casting golden light across the field, the same recruit who had frozen at the tattoo now stood taller than ever before. He would never forget that moment, the lesson carved into his soul by a quiet old man who had carried history in his skin. So if this story moved you, share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of hidden courage and quiet heroes. Because sometimes the greatest legends don't announce themselves, they simply walk among us, waiting to be seen.